Yo guys, this is Crescent here. Today I'll be bringing you my stamina decay build. I'm gonna call this build Beastly because it has to do with animals and werewolf and stuff through the set. So I'll show you later why I call it Beastly, because of the sets we'll be using. Okay, and the sets revolves around generating ulti and stacking up weapon damage to be defensive, because when you're using ulti you regenerate your resource, and when you have resource you can go offensive while using vigor and stuff, you know, and igneous, while stacking up damage with fury set. Obviously I'm just gonna say it out loud because everybody's gonna use fury. Stamina decay especially, it's so good, that set, in CP campaign especially. Okay, so this build mainly focus in solo environment or in a really small group, up to 4 players I would say, because more than 4 players you are better off running something else, maybe like spamming what you call that, rapids for the group, or using caltrops as well, or using traps or stuff like that. It's better if you are running in a very large raid or a group. Okay, so the sets we'll be using, I'll show you now. As you figure out, it's 5-piece body fury. This is just one of the top set for stamina decay, because as a stamina decay you can tank a lot, especially sword and board build. That's why fury is really good. You want 5 impen on the body, and then you want to go 2 medium Selines. This is a solo build, so I have to include one of the damage dealing set Celine. You preferably want 2 sturdy on the Celine, 2 medium, 2 sturdy, or stamina glyphs. And this is the ulti regen set that I'll be using instead of blood spawn, which is werewolf height set. These sets give you really good stats. Health, which is okay, stamina really good, weapon damage really good, and generates 5 ultimate every 5 seconds. That's why it's really awesome. And when you take damage, every single damage, that's why it generates ulti constantly, as long as you take any damage from any source. Okay, and we'll be running a better axe on the 2-hand, Maelstrom better axe. Preferably you can run something like master weapon as well, but you want to have axe because to apply the bleed, this is our off bar, our gap close bar. That's why better axe is the best. And you can use and you want to use sword and board, werewolf height dagger. This is the easiest you can find. You can find it in the store. It's super cheap, just buy it. The rings are really cheap as well, as you can see, 2k gold, super cheap. And the shield as well is pretty cheap. That's why this set is really good. And this is the solo build set. If you're running in a group and you feel like you need more sustain, you're running in a small group, like 2-man group, 3-man group, 4-man group, you want more sustain, you can go blood spawn, 2-piece blood spawn, medium as well, obviously, 2-piece blood spawn instead of Celine. Or you can go something like Troll King is really good as well. Or you can go even like something like thermo skill, that is for snaring, give you a little. The damage is terrible. Thermo skill is not good at all this patch, because they nerf it down, they reduce the damage and it's not critable anymore. That's why it's not strong at all. But the snare is really good in a group, like in a choke point you can snare a lot of players for 8 seconds for 70%. That is really strong. That's why this set sometimes is really good. It's situational. And you can run yeah, like me, I run Celines for damage, because I'm running solo usually, but sometimes I run in small group. Celines is okay as well. Okay, so there's one more thing you can do if you want to be super tanky in a group, like you are the meatball of your group. You can run something like either Troll King, or you can run Blood Spawn for head and shoulders, and you run Tavas instead of Fury, because you don't want to do damage, you want to tank. That's why Tavas is really good. So you can regenerate ulti through blood spawn, you can regenerate ulti through Tavas, and you can regenerate ulti to werewolf height. That is the really strong setup for tanking as well. And you can do okay damage, I guess. Not the strongest, but it's decent. Alright, so we are done with the sets. I'll just go through the pots that I'll be using. I'll just go through really quick, because it's almost the same like from the last video. You can use a tri-stat pot. I don't have it now. Tri-stat is decent. You can use a Maze Expedition. Soloing, this is a must-have. You can get immovability, speed, and restore stamina. And another one is health, restore stamina, and immune to knockback. This is your gang prevention potion when you're low. And this one is your offensive potion, you get immune to knockback, savagery crit, and you get stamina. That's why this is really good as well. Okay, poisons. So the poisons that I usually use, there are a lot of poisons. I went through them in my poison guide video. You can check it out. There are a lot of poisons suitable for stamina decay, but I'll just go through the main poison. So basically you can run the damage poison, increase cost, or you can run double damage, 2 dot damage poison, which is really good as well. This one exactly, and you can run this poison as well, which is really good, increase cost of magicka stamina and give you a small dot, or overall a really good poison. Or you can run maximum try hard cost increase poison. This poison is super good as well. All these 4 poisons are really good. There are a few poisons that give fracture, minor fracture or something like that. Those are good as well. It's just depending on you. Alright, so the poisons are done as well. The Mundus Stone we'll be running is, let me check, Thief. Yeah, we want to crit. Usually I'll get 36% because I got a buff, I think. Yeah, keep bonus buff 2%. So you 36% usually I have. But if you use the crit pot, you'll go up to near 50%. That is really awesome. Okay, so you want Thief, and yeah, basically this. Okay, I need to eat my food. Yeah, and the food that we'll be using is max health and max stamina food. And I'll just let you see the stats. This is the unbuffed stats that we have. Bear in mind the weapon damage will go up a lot after all the buffs and fury set. That's why this is a bit deceiving. You can go up to 3.5k or maybe even more weapon damage when you are fully buffed. With heavy armor as well, you can hit almost up to 4k weapon damage. When you use the crit pot, you get up to 50% crit. That's why it's really strong. Okay, yeah, so the important thing is you want to have a physical crit. I don't have the add-on now, but basically you want to have the crit resistance at about 30% or more. That will be good. Okay, yeah, that's about it for food. Mundus, we'll go through the CP really quickly. Okay, so yeah, this is almost the same from last patch. You want to put some into bashing because you do light attack, ransack bash, a lot into warlord, just tiny bit into the reduced magicka cost. You can run yeah, maybe 10% into like Mooncalf. Yeah, 1% just for the benefit for magicka recovery and tenacity. When you do heavy attacks, you restore a little bit of stamina. And 30 into Shadow Ward, because this is sword and board build, sometimes you need to block. And 36 into roll dodge and break free, really important. Especially in a non-CP campaign, tumbling is, oh no, you don't have any CP in, yeah, whatever. It's still really important because you need to, sometimes when you're snared, you have to roll dodge or you have to use shuffle. So tumbling is really good. Alright, you want about 10% into bless, about 30 points, 28 points, doesn't really matter. You want 15 here to get repopes. This gives you 15% chance to do a little bit of damage to melee attacks. So this is important, 15 here. You want almost 100 into mighty, a bit into piercing, and a little bit into critical strike, precise strikes. So your Dawnbreaker or your leap will do a lot of damage. Thermal Church just a bit because you apply dots as a DK, obviously. And you want 30 into crit resistance, not less than 30, minimum 30 here. You want, yeah, a bit more into hardy than elemental defender because DKs has a natural passive that gives you magicka resistance. That's why you want it more into a hardy. A bit into thick skin, maybe like 10 points or more, because maybe a bit more, 20 points would do just fine because there's this magicka DK meta now. So a bit into thick skin is really good as well. And recovery, you need about maybe 5%, up to 5%, like 13 points is decent. A bit into expert defender to prevent more damage from light and heavy attack. Yeah, so that's about it for CP. And I'll go through the most important thing, which is skills. Okay, so skills are basically very simple. We'll go through the gap close bar first. This is bear in mind, this is a solo setup I'm running now. You can change it around for group play, but this is what I use. So basically you have to use reverse slice because last patch I was using rearming traps, but basically proc sets can't crit anymore. minor force is reduced by 2%, and the damage of rearming traps is reduced, I think, by 20%. That's why rearming traps is not so good anymore in PvP. That's why I use Execute. Venomous Claw, this is obviously one of the strongest single target dot in the game. You have to use it no matter what as a DK. Stamina DK, obviously. Stampede, this is your snare. You can use Crit Rush as well. If you use Crit Rush, you have to use Thermal Skill for the snare, because you don't have any snare anymore. And you can use Volatile Armor or Wings, depending on your choice. And Rally for the heal, obviously, and Corrosive Armor. Okay, and the damage dealing bar, Ransack. You can use, what do you call it, Pierce Armor as well. It's decent if you have a mate, but if you run solo, obviously Ransack is better. Reverb Bash, this is your CC. You could use Fossilize, but I feel that I kind of run out of Magicka when I use Fossilize, because I like to spam Igneous Shield for the, for the ability to gain major mending and stuff. So I feel like Reverb Bash is better, because you get major defile as well. And then Shuffle is obviously nerf, but still equally important. Igneous Shield, this is a must-have. Vigor, must-have as well. And Dawnbreaker. Okay, so what you can switch on this bar is, you could use Leap now, because Leap is now viable in this meta. 17k without any buff. Imagine if I get fully buffed, it's gonna do about 22k to 25k damage, which is really awesome, and it's critable. That's why it's so important. Dawnbreaker gives you a better dot, but in a group you want burst, so definitely I'll use Take Flight here, and I can switch around. If you want to use something like one Sword and Board Shield Wall, you want to take Spell Wall buff, you can use it on Sword and Board bar. Okay, you get a bit less damage because Fighter Guilds Dawnbreaker give you 2% more damage, but you become really tanky on your this bar, because you can just spam this skill. This skill so cheap, 100 ultimate, and you can use Sleep on the back bar. So basically what you do is, you Ransack, you Reverb Bash, you do some damage, you apply dodge, you apply poison, and the moment enemy is low around 60%, you switch to your 2-hand bar, you leap, and then you execute. That is one of the methods you can run. Or you can run something like me, which is a bit more flexible. Your Dawnbreaker on your Sword and Board bar, so you do damage, you Dawnbreaker stun, you switch to the 2-hand bar, and then you do Reverse Slice to execute. Or if you're fighting a tanky target, Corrosive Armor is king. This skill is so damn strong, defensively and offensively. The only problem is it costs a lot, but against like a Magicka DK, which is holding block forever, you want to pierce their armor, you need Corrosive. That's why I run Corrosive. But like I mentioned, Shield Wall, Spell Wall or Shield Wall, this ultimate is really good, and Leap is really good as well, especially in groups. Alright, so the skills are basically more or less done. Yeah, I think I covered almost everything about the build. So yep, I explained the combo as well already. So if you have any questions, just write it in the comments below. And yeah, that's about it for this video. I guess I'll see you guys in Cyrodiil, and bye bye.